The next speaker that we have lined up is a published author, an award-winning inventor with 35 years where he's had products sold in Walmart, 7-Eleven, Disney stores. He's been endorsed. He's got products that are endorsed with Michael Jordan, Alex Trebek, Taylor Swift. And he's written books all about how you can take your idea and get it into the marketplace. He's also going to be signing these books right out in front. So if you'd like to talk, please stop by, get a book. And this is Stephen Key.
How's everybody doing today? Good. How many people here like to make things? Raise your hand. How many people like to make things and make money from your things? Raise your hand. All right. That's what I want to talk about today, because there's this whole movement about people making things, and I think we all want to make things. I've been wanting to make things forever. I just didn't know I could make a living from it. So today I'm going to talk about how I started, and what do I do, and how you can also take your ideas and bring them to market. It's a very simple way. But I'm going to change things completely up today. In fact, it was fascinating for me to hear how much work people are doing when they're building their prototypes. Because we all like to make things. But you can spend a lot of time and energy making things, especially if you want to bring them to market, but maybe the market doesn't want what you just made. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I do it a very different way. So, I'm a product artist. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm not an inventor, although I have 20 patents to my name. I've been collecting royalties for 20 years on my invention. I'm not an inventor. That's a pretty title. Am I an entrepreneur? Of course. In fact, when I first started, my father wanted me to go to business school, and so I enrolled in Santa Clara University out in California. Kind of reminds me of this a little bit, and it was very intimidating for me. I didn't like it at all. In fact, I think I lasted maybe 2 years before I took an art class by mistake. It was off campus. I got to work with my hands for the first time, and I realized I want to be. And I remember I went home and I told my dad, I said, I want to be an artist. He said, well, great, you must draw. I said, well, no. So, well, you must want to be a painter. And I said, no. He kind of looked at me kind of funny, but my father had the insight to say, look, if you find something you're really excited about, try it out. So I went over to San Jose State, very large school. They had an art department of 4,000 students. And I realized right away that was not the right fit for me. That these were really artists. And I just liked products. But I didn't know what to do with that. So I left a little early before I graduated. And I didn't know how to make a living, but I knew I wasn't going to make a living doing fine art. So I started making little stuffed animals, and I would take them to an art fair. And I'd have a little table out there, and I remember the first one I went to, my father came by, and at the end of the day, I had a fantastic time, and he came by my little table and said, how'd you do today? And I said, fantastic! He said, well, how many did you sell? I said, well, I didn't sell any. And he kind of looked at me kind of funny, and he couldn't quite figure that out. But what I liked about it was that interaction with people. And I realized really quick, if I had an idea or a product that didn't sell, I needed to find something else fast. And that's what I want to talk about today, is how can you come up with an idea fairly fast and test the market first before you go to all the trouble to making that wonderful thing that you want to make. Now, I like to make things. I like to touch them, like to feel them. But at the end of the day, I like the paycheck too. So what happens if we don't test your idea very quickly, you can spend a lot of money on patents, a lot of money on prototyping, and a couple of years later realize no one wants it. Now, I know a lot of people here that have a garage full of things that they thought were a great idea. So I like to test really, really quick. So what I'm going to talk about is that testing process real quick. So what do I do now? I'm a product artist. I come up with ideas. I might look at a website of an area of a product that I like, and I study it. And I find the holes that the companies have missed. And I look at the benefit of what my idea possibly could be, and then I put together a quick little sell sheet of how I'm going to change their product and make it better. I make a small improvement on their existing product. I don't try to reinvent the wheel. I don't want to do that. It's too hard, it costs too much money, you'll spend forever doing it. I want to make a small improvement. And I've been doing it for 30 years. And I've had products that I've sold in Walmart, I've had products that I've sold in Japan. I was on Nescafe Coffee, Jim Beam. I sold just about everything I possibly can. I piggyback on other companies. That's what I do. You know the reason why? I know there's a market for it already. That's the strategy. I know there's a market for it. I make a small improvement. I might file a provisional patent application. I'll talk about that in just a minute. Because everybody thinks you need patents. I'm here to tell you you don't. You need perceived ownership because you don't own anything. Anybody can work around it. I've been in federal court. I sued a little toy company a couple years back called Legos. And I realized you really don't own anything at the end of the day. So I license ideas to companies. It's called licensing, basically renting an idea. And the reason why I love it so much is because there's no risk whatsoever. I might file a provisional patent application. I'll do a sell sheet. I might even show them an idea I don't even know if it will work. What do you mean? You haven't tested it? No. Well, why are you doing that? I want to know if the benefit is so strong, they want more information. Because if that benefit is so strong, they can help me. In fact, that company can be the best partner you'll ever find. A partner is that money, distribution, relationships. I cannot tell you how many people start companies only to develop a technology that later another company comes in, because they have market share, they change it a little bit, and now they're the leaders. Big companies are not innovators, they're market takers. So that's why licensing is really interesting to me. It's finding that perfect partner that has everything: money, distribution, relationships, and guess what they have? Speed to market. The best protection today is speed. All right, so let's move on. So I'm a product artist, whatever that means. I create and design improvements to existing products. Oh, gee. You know, what does that really mean? I've got a few products I'll show you in just a minute. I present those ideas, those improvements to companies selling similar products. I remember the first product I designed. I was in my office, I loved to play basketball, and I wanted to get a little Nerf basketball game and shoot a few buckets to kind of have fun. And I went down to Toys R Us and I looked at all the indoor basketball games, and they were boring. They said a square backboard. And I thought, this is terrible. And I love Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan should be on the backboard. In fact, there's one little company, Ohio Art, had a little picture of Michael Jordan. So I went down to Kinko's and bought a poster of Michael Jordan, slapped it on the backboard. And I remember I loved it. I called it Hoop Hoop Hooray. And I remember I showed it to my wife. She's here. And at the time, she was vice president of marketing at Gallo Winery, the highest ranking woman in the history of that company. I met her at Worlds of Wonder, the late 80s. We launched laser tag and Teddy Ruxpin back then. And her background, well, I didn't finish college. She went to Stanford, got her MBA at Northwestern. Her specialty was new products. That was perfect. I'm a creator guy, and she's got a traditional background. Wonderful. So at night, I'd have to pick my big sketch pad out, and I would say, Janice, I go through my ideas. Guys, bad idea. Bad idea. I would always start with the worst idea first. At the very end, I had this basketball game. Little Nerf basketball with a picture of Michael Jordan on the back. And I said, she's going to love this. said, chance. And she said to me, the chances of you licensing that idea are probably about 1 in a million. Forget about it. So the very next day I sent it off to Ohio Art, thinking that that was a perfect fit. They had the license of Michael Jordan. 3 days later I had a contract. 3 days later, it sold for 10 years. The last royalty check was 35 cents. I kept it. The first year we sold over $1 million. That check was about $100,000. I didn't own a thing. I didn't file anything. That particular industry needs us. They work with freelancers, product developers, product artists forever. More and more companies are working with us. And that's amazing. It's called open innovation. How many people have heard open innovation? Raise your hand. Yeah. It's sweeping the world. You know why? Companies need ideas. It doesn't cost them anything for me to submit an idea. If they take it, they pay as you go. They pay me a royalty. It's really simple. But I need to show them the benefit. I do all the work. But I don't build prototypes, although I'd love to. I'll build a prototype once they're interested. That's the catch. That's a little bit different. Because I can always build a prototype, and I can always protect an idea. But boy, do I know they're going to want it or not? No, that's the part that's very, very tricky. So, if they like my idea, they basically just rent it from me. It's called licensing. Now, licensing to a lot of people, like, what is that? Licensing's been around forever. And the publishing industry, and the music industry, of course, companies like Disney have been licensing Mickey Mouse to every product on the planet forever. But now people are deciding I could either venture my idea, raise all that money, a lot of it, it's going to be 5 times what it used to be. You know how expensive that gets, right? Or it's going to take a long time. Or I can license it over here. Now, there's hybrids of the same thing. He mentioned that he's going to probably start manufacturing it, but if he finds that perfect partner, you're right, license. You got to prove proof of concept sometimes. So, I love licensing. It's so easy to do. You don't even have to put your day job. I teach a class. I have students that are 16 years old that are trying to license ideas right now with a simple sell sheet and a video. You can do it anywhere, anytime. Basically, you know, stuff. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I've licensed some really crazy stuff. So I can't keep paying for that stuff. There's my Michael Jordan wall. I remember sitting on the couch with my 3 kids, Janice, Saturday morning, and sure enough, a commercial comes up with Michael Jordan, saying that's the best looking backboard he's ever seen. And I'm sitting there, I look over at my wife.
I'm really glad I can be the straight man.
I don't think she's ever actually heard me tell that story.
Yeah, maybe I should step up.
That's all right. That's the only one I'm about. One of my first ideas I licensed was just a company knew I was creative, and they would say, Steve, come up with ideas for Valentine's. So I came up with a little, in fact, I didn't write anything. I didn't even draw it. I just called them up and said, look, how about a little arrow? That's a suction cup. It's called I'm Stuck on You. They licensed it. What, really? I have a technology, it's a label, it's a rotating label. We sold over 500 million spin labels, no one's ever seen it. It's the most successful product that's never been on the market, although it has. Can you believe I'm saying that? Nestle Coffee, Japan, GMD, Swiss and Chill from Disney. It's a rotating label, you spin it's 2 labels. Base label, top label has a little window. You spin it, gives you 75% more space. You sold a lot of them. I've been collecting royalties on that innovation for 20 years. And guess what? I didn't invent it. Someone else did 60 years ago. See, how do you do that? What do you mean they invented it? Don't you have to own it? No, what happened, they didn't know how to manufacture it. So I figured out how to manufacture it. And I'll tell you, I got a call. I was working in my office, which was Kinko's. I was in a drawer. And I got the call from the big company. I submitted it, had a friend show it to Procter & Gamble. Sure enough, this president and CEO of Procter & Gamble called my little office and said, whoever invented this rotating label, I want to see it. So I remember I got that call, I couldn't believe it. Finally, I would hit the big time. I tell Janice, look, I need you there, put on that red dress. You know marketing, I don't know anything about marketing, I got a manufacturing guy there. Sure enough, we fly out to Cincinnati, it's a beautiful day. We're walking across this green grass and the sun's shining. I feel like $1 million. We go to lunch in the cafeteria, and right after lunch we go to this meeting, and I thank the gentleman for inviting me and thanked him for lunch. Now my wife was worried about this when the first I got that call. She said, you don't understand who you're dealing with. I'm walking across that grass that day. I said, thank you. He said, Steve, remember one thing. There's no such thing as a free lunch. What's going to happen to me? We get in that meeting, walk down the aisle, patents. Technology Center. In this big meeting, big table, all the marketing people line up. I'm on one side, I've got my wife here. I take my little label, I start spinning it across, showing everybody. Janice gets up and talks about how we're going to cross-promote, do all this kind of marketing stuff. I don't know what she's talking about. The manufacturing guy here says, yeah, we can do it. He doesn't know how to do it. And they slide this piece of paper across the table. And he says, Mr. Key, we're not going to pay you 1 penny for that idea. And they all get up and walk out. That was the longest flight home I've ever had. And they got the initial matrix, and they got all these patent numbers on it. And said, what's this? He goes, Steve, I'm sorry, but this idea is not new. But I did it, but I paid you to do a check. I paid you to do a prior art check. And he said, you told me I invented it. It was the first thing I've ever invented. Now, my attorneys knew something was wrong, because I've never invented anything. And they didn't find it. But sure enough, fucking go. And I went back. In fact, my family's from Greenville, South Carolina. I go back there once a year. I used to when the kids were small for a family reunion. I went back to that reunion, went to the Myrtle Beach, sat on the beach, drank a couple beers, cried in my beer for about a week. Got back, and I looked at that patent really closely. You know what I found? There's no method of manufacturing. Not one claim. Did I know anything about manufacturing labels? Nothing. But I knew the benefit was strong enough, because that label had one benefit that companies needed: more real estate. For promotions, contests, drug facts, they needed the space. And that's that one-line benefit every company would listen to. So hot picks, I did guitar picks. You guys, you know it's really fun. I started a company designing guitar picks. I don't even play. What am I doing designing guitar picks? Well, sometimes if you don't know what you're doing, you do a really good job. Because you don't know what you do. We became one of the largest guitar pick manufacturers in the world. In 4 years, we're Walmart, 7-Eleven, places you wouldn't think people would even buy. Someone said to me, do musicians go to 7-Eleven that much? No, what we did, we designed lifestyle guitar picks for everyone. Whereas like Jimmy Dunlop was doing special guitar picks for musicians, we were doing guitar picks for lifestyle for everyone. Our market was 10 times that size. We sold tens of millions of them. But here's the lesson I learned. Even though that guitar pick only cost pennies, it cost me $250,000 of my own money just to get it going. People don't realize to start a company is expensive. To stay ahead of everybody is expensive. So when everybody says, I'm going to venture, I kind of go, well, hopefully you've got a lot of money, a lot of time, and you're not going to quit, ever. So I know the difference between licensing and venturing, and they're very different. Okay, I don't like to risk anything. Benefits of licensing, I'm going to do this really quick. No risk, you can do it anywhere. You don't have to start a company. You don't have to quit your day job. Freedom to live anywhere. I live in Lake Tahoe. Anybody from Lake Tahoe? Boy, that's nice, huh? Live anywhere you want. You don't have to live in Silicon Valley or anyplace else. And you can be creative. All right, so I'm gonna go through how you can do it. This is really simple. You find a category. I teach this same, what I'm gonna go through real quick, I've been teaching it for 15 years. I don't know if you've ever been to my site, go to inventright.com. You don't want to invent wrong, you want to invent right. We have students all over the world. My first student was Tim Ferriss. Anybody know Tim Ferriss, 4-Hour Work Week? He's done okay. And he liked it because I hacked the system. I loved listening to the speakers there because they were hacky. They were hackers. I didn't consider myself a hacker. What is that, hacker? I just looked at the old way and decided I don't want to do it that way. Because I didn't know if I could make a living. In fact, if I didn't figure out this pretty quick, Janice was going to leave me. So I wanted to be creative. I wanted to work with my hands, but how do you do it, right? So I hacked the system. I sell benefits first. Simple as that. If you like it, I can do the rest. Simple as that. It's hard to come up with that benefit of ideas, but you can. So anyway, I teach a course. We've done it for 15 years. And it works. If you haven't gone to my site, please, we've got students all over the world licensing ideas. I see a licensing agreement every week. And people are not starting companies, and guess what? They don't own anything. Surprising everybody. Okay, say the marketplace, really simple. Go down to the store, find a category you love. Find something you really want to invent in, create it. Do a Google image search, see if it exists. Guarantee it, you'll find something similar. And that is really a good thing. If you come up with an idea that no one's ever thought about, I would worry. Because if there's a market for it, there's a problem, that tells me it's okay. Can I come up with something a little better? That's what I want to do. And then I do a prior art search. How many people have done a prior art search here, raise your hand? Oh, that's a lot of fun, huh? You know, if you really want to go to sleep at night, just get a patent out and read it. Trust me, you go to sleep over there. I love searching for prior art, prior patents. You know why? They tell me the roadmap of what I want to avoid or how to work around it. That's what I love it. When I looked at that patent with that spin label that was done 50 years ago, I just worked around it. There was no method of manufacturing. That's all I did. I go, wow, this is great, but how do you make it? And that was my argument with Legos. I was in federal court, made samples for Legos. They signed an NDA. They loved the technology. They decided to put it on Bionicles. It was one of their best-selling toys around the world. My technology! They put it on and they weren't paying me. Took them to federal court. We settled after 3 years over 2 words. Just 2 words. You realize you don't own anything because words can be interpreted by anybody. By a jury, a judge, a patent examiner. That's what I realized. But what you need is perceived ownership. We'll talk about that. All right, so let's do invent for the marketplace. Come up with something new. Small improvement. Don't reinvent the wheel. If you reinvent the wheel, it's going to take you twice as much. Whenever you have to educate anybody, it costs money. Guys, you don't have to do that. The appetite for new is so large in this country now. Just find it simple. Don't think outside the box. Think on the edge of the box. That's what you want to do. Okay, so I look for opportunities. I look for sleeping dinosaurs. That's what I do. I look for areas they haven't innovated in. I do it the easy way. I look at a product line and go, oh, what are these guys missing? Because guess what? Big companies aren't that smart. We're smarter than big companies. You don't know it, but you are. You're faster. You have more determination, and you're going to get more reward from it. Those guys are going home at 5 o'clock. When I come home with an idea and I'm working on it, I've got some leverage, I don't sleep. I'm thinking about it on Saturdays and Sundays. I'm thinking about how that's going to make some income for me. So we can outthink them. And then I make small improvements on it, piggyback on them. I might file a PPA. Simple as that. This game is so much fun, anybody can do it. Creativity. I'm not a very creative guy, but I found a way to be creative. I look at a product line, I start breaking it apart. That's all I do. Change the material. Can I add some technology? What about the color? What about the shape? It's all just very mechanical now. Product developers do that now. How do people use them? Look on Google and see what people are writing about reviews. They'll tell you what's wrong with products. All that information is available. It's really easy to do. Step 3, protection. Oh, I own 20 patents. I sold my company. I sold in my patent portfolio 13 patents for a lot of money. And I'm here to tell you, you don't own anything. Now, how can a guy say that? I speak at the USPTO and the power of patents. I still don't believe in them. Because I think it's perceived ownership. I think anybody can design around a patent. And guess what? They're not. They can take it to court. Who wants to fight in court? No one does. I've been down that road too, and I know that's something you never would do that. So, perceived ownership. I wrote a book recently. It's called How to License an Idea with or Without a Patent. I see licensing agreements every week. And guess what? There's no IP. Maybe there will be. And if there is, you get the company to pay for it. For the spin label, I had 13 patents. I didn't pay for any of them. They did. Because I gave them an exclusive license. I talk about how you leverage your perceived ownership, how you can get a licensing deal without owning anything. I also talk about how if you have a really big idea, what type of IP strategy do you really need? Because it's very different from a product that's going to go in and out to a medical product. That's very, very different. Different strategy. I talk about them both. Now, what's different about this book I wrote, you'll never hear any of this ever from a patent attorney. Any patent attorneys in here, raise your hand. Come on, I know you're up there. And what's really fun about it, they look at it and go, Steve, you're crazy. You have to own something. If you're telling me you don't own anything, I'm out of a job. No. You want perceived ownership. You still need to file, right? Give the companies the opportunity to decide if they want to file. You manage it. And then if they like it, give them an exclusive. And I talk about that strategy of how to get those companies to sign deals. There's a strategy that I use almost once a week now. I can get any company to sign up. I take away risk. And I do that with the grant of license. What are you really licensing from me? They want to make it the patent. I want to make it the new improvements, patent pending, always. I can keep that going forever for them to pay me. And that's where they don't see it, the chess game. They just don't see it because guess what? Big companies have very narrow vision. All right, power of original patents. I won't go too much in that. I can talk about that forever. I love the chess game that's being played. If you don't know this chess game, you are going to lose. If you don't know about intellectual property, you are at a huge disadvantage. Learn as much as you can. Go to uspto.gov. Got a question, call them up. Greatest customer service on the planet. Read as much as you can about your perceived ownership. It's easy to do. Anybody can do it. Step 4, sell sheets. You guys, this is how you license ideas. One of these. The sell sheets. They're advertisements. That's all. Huge benefit statements. You know the greatest thing that's happening today? Sell sheets and videos. 1-minute videos. You know those cheesy commercials you see on TV? As seen on TV. Aren't those terrible? You see them? They're brilliant. They work. 1-minute video. Show a problem, show a solution in 1 minute. Problem for 15 seconds, solution for 45, and make sure everybody's happy at the end. That's what works. It works every time. Go to Telebrands, go to All-Star. I love those guys because they really know how to pitch in 1 minute. Sometimes I'll give this lecture to MBAs, get their stack of their business plan, their PowerPoint presentations about this thick. I'm going, are you kidding me? Who's going to listen to that? You want to grab your audience fast. In fact, you want to grab your audience so fast with a 1-line benefit statement. If you don't have a 1-line benefit statement that's strong, you're fooling yourself. You got to grab your audience as fast as you can, then they'll listen to everything else that you have. You can do it with one of these, your video, but don't do a PowerPoint presentation. Maybe later when you want more information, but not very beginning. Okay, how do you go on? The video. Let's tell a story. Tell a story everybody can relate to. That's all it is, you guys. It's really, really simple. That's what I love about it. Okay, Wolf Washer, Ryan Diaz came up with the 10 product No one took it. Everybody said no. Made a little video, put it on Facebook, and he had 100 million shares on Facebook. He didn't even have sound. He's a student of mine. This is coming out this spring. He's a millionaire. All right. All right. How many people have seen Grit? It was the #1 best-selling tool. #1 best-selling small accessory at Apple Store. Came up with an idea. This guy's really sharp. He was an industrial designer. Couldn't make a good living. Wanted to learn about licensing. Came up with this thing called Cocoon Grit. Licensed it to a company. Everybody else turned them down too. Don't go after the big company. You guys, don't chase the big companies. They're not market leaders or market takers. Get the smaller guy. That's what he did. Sure enough, they took it. It became in 1,500 SKUs. 1,500 SKUs. And eventually they bought him out, and now he's living who knows where, having a great time. All right, more products. You guys, I can go on forever. If you haven't been to my website, please do. We show students. There's free stuff all over that website to show you how to do it. I believe you share information. I believe you reach down, you reach down when you're happy and you've done a good job. Reach down and pull the other guy up. That's what you need to do. How many people have seen this? Is the maker right here. How many people are familiar with this? He's a student of mine. I couldn't believe it when I first saw this. It was made out of Legos when I first saw it. Went on Kickstarter, raised a bunch of money, licensed it. Now it's Scott's another student. He just licensed 8 ideas in the toy industry. He's got 3 on DRTV. He's killing it. He is killing it. And I'm really proud to say he's one of my students. Now this is Mike. He's got the same, keeps potato chips back standing up. Who would have thought that was a problem? I write for Entrepreneur and Inc. magazine once a week, all my articles. I talk about licensing. You guys, I give this information away. I love it so much. Get it. It's all free. I do a YouTube channel. How many people watch my YouTube channel here? Anybody? Okay, great. Go to it. It's not. I don't have 1 million views. I'll tell you that right now. When I was listening to these gentlemen here, I'm a little intimidated. These guys really do a good job. Mine's not great. Terrible. Content is key. Everything else is terrible. I need to fix it. But if you want to learn about licensing, check it out. If you like it. I talk about every topic you can imagine on it. Let's see. I teach a year-long program. You guys, a year long is a long time. I teach a year-long program and it's very expensive. How many people are my students here? Raise your hand. Got some students here. Thank you. You guys, but let me tell you that. My company here, we hold your hand. I have a coach. Once a week you get a coach. I'm a secondary coach. If you get a license, we're going to get it for you. But it's a hand-holding. You don't have to take that course. Because I put everything in this course, I put that in a book with one simple idea. So McGraw-Hill called me and said, Steve, you're doing something that's crazy. Will you put your course in a $14 book that's sold for $2,400? Are you crazy? I put everything in the book. Follow the book, it works. If you want more, I need to do more. But you guys, anybody can do it. I have students that are 16 years old. Can you believe a 16-year-old saved up enough money to buy that? Right there, right there. It's got a few 5-star reviews. It's been translated in other languages. It still sells well. Business books don't sell well. My category doesn't sell at all. This book still sells well even up to 5 years. You know why? That's my calling card. It's everything. All right. Anyway, selling your ideas without a patent. I've got that out there. They're all signed. And I cannot thank Joe Dwyer for inviting me. I'm out here from California, and I'm really happy to be here. Thank you, everybody.
Can we do some Q&A?
How about some questions? Yes.
Licensing can out. So I have like a dozen ideas, right? One person don't have the time, right? Don't have the financial outlay to build businesses, right? So how do you protect those ideas when you're approaching like that Procter & Gamble? We're basically having to protect so you don't show them. They're like, oh, this is great. They're like, ah, no thanks. And then 6 months later, they show this.
I would avoid contacting those sides of companies. I just would, you guys. It's really hard. If you don't understand their manufacturing techniques, if you don't really understand their business, you're at a disadvantage. Even though they embrace open innovation, It's really for companies that are in that industry. But that being said, file your provisional patent application. It is a great tool, very, very affordable, and you can do it. Become an expert. And I write about how to become an expert. What people don't realize, you don't want to count on anybody but you. You have to be the expert. You have to know the prior art. You need to know the difference. Even though it might be small, you need to know the difference. Contact smaller companies that are going to love you, that aren't going to care about it. Right? Make sure you file the PPA. And do this. Show them a sell sheet that just has the big benefit. And when they ask, can you give me more, ask for them to sign an NDA. That's how you play the game, right? And the thing about licensing, you can have 10 ideas. You can have all those ideas up in the air at one time. You cannot do that if you're going to try to start a business. Next question? Yes?
Okay, so when you approached whatever the company name was about the Michael Jordan backboard, what is it that you go, hey, look, you can put Michael Jordan and just make a shape? If they would have gone, oh, that's stupid, go away. Here, Scottie Pippen instead. Get the hell out of
You
here.
know, I love that idea. See, the toy industry, I sent it to Ohio Arts that does the Etch-a-Sketch. They've been working with people like me for 50 years. They count on me. I mean, they need us. In fact, really good designers don't work in companies. They're freelancers. So when I submitted to them, they loved it. Now, they could have taken it, right? What good would that have done? I don't come back with another idea. See, they understand licensing. Some companies you have to educate, and that is really painful. Some companies understand it and realize every licensing agreement that comes across is ugly at first. They're all ugly. But you work it, you work it, you work it. That industry loves creative people. They don't care about IP. They could have taken it, but they didn't. And yes, they did do Grant Hill. They did Penny Hardaway, they did Michael Jordan, they even did little ones that were in Wheaties. In fact, I was looking down at the store and I saw this little, it's called the Michael Jordan wall ball, not Hoop Hoop Hooray. They did change it. And I saw a little one in the cereal box. They're in the back of, hey, they're not paying me for this. Called them up. Now, everybody's honest, right?
Yeah, right.
Called them up and said, you guys, you're not paying me. No, you made a mistake. All right, next question. Yes.
Enforcement, how do you audit something like that, like the real number of sales,
That's
or
good.
if they do any other sort of transfer?
I've never audited anybody, ever. You have an audit clause, you can, right? You can. I always talk to the sales guy. I get friends with the manufacturing guy, the sales guy, not the high-level guys. I want to talk to the guys that are actually doing the work. Those are the guys that, whenever I get press, in fact, that first year when we came up with the spin label, we won 15 awards around the world. I always gave all of it to the people that helped me. Because without them, we can't raise the top. So I could just ask the sales guys would brag. Hey, we just got this guy, we just got this guy. Were they kind of playing funny with the numbers? Maybe, maybe not. But the minimum guarantees on that spin label were $250,000 for one technology. The second one was another $250,000. The next one was another $250,000. Those minimum guarantees added up to be $750,000 a year. Did I care if they missed a couple labels? All right, next question.
You touched on creativity. Can you talk a little bit more about keeping that fresh and where you draw your greatest inspiration from?
Yeah, I love that question. Oh, I think that you have to practice it.
What was the question again?
How do you keep your creativity alive? And how do you develop that creativity? How do you keep it alive? How do you keep it fresh? And I can tell you what I've learned is that it is a discipline. In fact, people that are in the arts know that. They can pull ideas. They have to do it all day long. They've learned to look at it a little differently. They break it apart. They play games. I play a game called Mix and Match. I take two ideas, I bring them together, create something new. Or What If? Or Solve It. I play all these games. You know what these games do? They get me to think a little differently, to look at it differently. And you're going to realize half the stuff you do is going to be awful. Every once in a while, magic pops. That magic, I don't know where that comes from. And everybody's experienced this one time. Every time when that magic happens, I kind of look around and go, where did that just land? That's how you keep playing with it. If you develop a discipline so you can look at anything and play the same games, what can I do differently? And then you start to go outside that world, right? on the internet, what people are saying about it, and then let it go. Do something else. In the back of your mind, it comes back again. So you develop it, you play with it, and who knows what comes of it. When I was doing the Michael Jordan wall ball, it was square. And they had a little picture of Michael Jordan. So I was like, Michael Jordan, I love Michael Jordan. So I went down and I saw all these posters, and I go, I'm just going to slap the poster on the back and cut it out. And that's all it was. And it looked awful. In fact, Janice did the write-ups. It was called Hoop Hoop Hooray. It was done at Kinko's. They took a black and white picture, right? And it was just awful. They loved it. 3 days later, had a contract. All about benefits. Back here.
Yeah, when you make these, I just call them cold calls to these companies for your ideas, who do you think from the industry?
Oh, I love that. I just wrote an article, I think it was Inc. or Entrepreneur. Cold calling is dead. It's that simple, you guys. And number one, you're not cold calling when you have an idea. You're delivering a package. That's the way I like to look at it. Now, how do you deliver that package? The old way is that I'd call a company up, hi, I'm a product developer. I get the operator. I don't know what to do with that. I'm a product developer, and I would like to submit an idea to your company. Operators don't know what to do with that. Some industries, they do. But most of them are like, well, then I would direct them. Maybe someone over in marketing, and they put me over there, and I do the same. Hey, I'm a product developer, I'd like to submit an idea. What is your process? What is your process? And they tell me. Now, let me tell you where it gets so easy now. LinkedIn. Guys, incredible. You find a company, you want to speak to someone in sales or marketing, maybe new product development. The marketing person is really hard to get a hold of. They don't care where a good idea comes from. Sales guys pick up the phone, right? They're thinking they're getting a return call on a sale. They'll pick that phone up all the time. So you call them, but you don't want to. You want to use LinkedIn a little differently. You want to ask them their process. I'm a product developer. I'd like to submit an idea to your company. What is the correct person I can speak with? What is your process? Don't go on and on and on and on. Don't make a link where they can click on. Don't pitch. They've been told not to do any of that stuff. Be a professional. You're a product developer. You're not an inventor. You're only an inventor when you go to the press, because they think we're all a little crazy, which we are. But you don't want companies to know that. You want to be a product developer. Okay?
To that point, I've been a product designer, and you never want to talk to the engineering, because the minute that you do, your project is dead. Because every company that I've worked for has said that we are not allowed to talk to any inventor that comes in, because you open up the whole product for liability.
Yeah, let me talk about that for a minute. Companies, when they open the door for open innovation, that's a nightmare for them, right? But they've changed a little bit. The old big companies are dinosaurs. And I'm not going to list who they are. If it wasn't invented here, it's not any good. Now, they might want you to go through the legal department to make sure you sign the right documents. You always want to stay out of engineering or new product development. Maybe that at big companies like Procter & Gamble, the big guys do product development. I'll tell you the reason why. They're not going to show it to marketing and sales unless they know it's going to work. So they're going to make sure everything's good, and then they'll present it for you. But the companies I'm talking about, you don't want to ask for the president. Because the person that's actually going to do the work is going to be like a normal person, like a marketing manager, a sales guy. They're going to do all the work. That's your champion. That's your Superman. Some of these companies don't care where good product came from. Companies have realized, if I take an idea from the outside, I just didn't spin all the guys in the back room. There's no R&D charge on it. It's actually more affordable. And guess what? I've got 5 guys in the back room, my engineers, those guys are great. I open the door and I can get 100 engineers over here. And I don't have to pay them a dime. Open innovation is a wild thing, and a lot of companies are looking at it seriously. Yes?
So, I've got a problem where I've got a product and I need access to logos or likenesses of a conference of sports teams, of colleges, of leagues. And how do I, because filing for a license application to get access to all those requires $1 million of insurance.
I understand.
But I want to partner with someone that has
Perfect.
that license already.
Okay, so when I was seeing the Michael Jordan, the little prototype, I didn't have the rights to Michael Jordan. right? But it's called fair use. I can use it one time. I can put a sell sheet. I wouldn't put up on, maybe on the, I wouldn't try to sell it. You're gonna have all the lawyers looking at you, but it's called fair use. I use it one time. I've been at a trade show where I had mock-ups of Coca-Cola and Pepsi. I had all their products there, and they just walked by. Didn't think twice. It's called fair use, but I always give them credit. I always say sample only, right? Concept only, and give them the copyright at the very bottom. But hopefully you won't get a call. But once you do that, then I might go to a company and show them, look, you could use it. You can do it generic, but it doesn't have the same pizzazz, right? So I'll call a company, if I'm talking, if I got a product for Nike, I'll make it look just like Nike. Looks just like them. And they see it, they know it's concept only. That's how you play that game.
One more.
One more in the back.
So it seems like from your book, Stephen, and from your YouTube channel, that some of the really friendly open innovation markets are like toys, novelties, gifts. What are, for some of us that might be engineers or prototypers of like functional things, what are some of the good markets?
Yeah, you guys, it started out as toys, and novelty gift. That's where it started out. They've been working with us forever. But you'll find a lot of companies. I've got an interview with OXO, kitchen company, next week, the president, and they're going to talk about how they love innovation. I've got a list on my site that has 1,600 companies looking for ideas. Right? But yes, 1,600, that's nothing. There's thousands. There's tens of thousands. Find a company that embraces you. And if they don't embrace you, go to the next guy. If they send you some weird thing to sign, don't sign it. If they treat you poorly the first day, they're going to always treat you poorly. Find the companies that love you, and they'll love you back. You guys, I'm going to be back out. If you want, the books are signed, read it. Please go to my YouTube video. You'll love it. And get off the couch and do stuff. I mean, this is really fun stuff. Everybody should be doing it at any age.
And let's give a big round of applause. Janice. That's what he had to say. Those are just bullet points. There's a lot of really valuable information. It's a good investment if you're wanting to get your product out in the market. So,
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.